the Injil and the Quran. These are books revealed by Allah through the Prophet on earth. We're guided by them how to live in peace, how to live in peace. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah.
Bam! You're looking at the Underground Railroad. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30. But you know what? But you can catch us on YouTube 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I am honored today, you know what, to help a brother that I've been knowing for years. And I have a lot of respect for to talk about Islam. Because you know what? This is our duty, is to get dawah. Dawah meaning invite people to Islam. And you go to the Masjid Mayun, you know, hi to the brothers of Masjid al-Faruq and Masjid al-Fatih, you know. But I want to thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Okay. And Brother Ali is a very knowledgeable brother. And we're going to talk about Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon him. And how there's just a misunderstanding about how people feel about Jesus or Esau. And please, brother, before we even get started, introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Ali K. Muhammad. I am a former professional fighter.
Okay.
I was blessed to win the Illinois State Junior Welterweight title twice within my career. I am currently an entrepreneur with my own business at the moment.
What was your rank? What was your rank when you was fighting?
My rank, I wasn't ranked, but I did win the Illinois State Junior Welterweight title twice. I had over 50 professional fights.
Oh, praises do that a lot. You know? And see, I see you beat the shaitan up though. People don't know what the shaitan is. The shaitan is the devil. Okay. And you won your biggest fight by beating the shaitan. Okay. So, brother, do you want to mention the masjid that you go to, or you prefer not to?
I mean, I go to Masjid Ihsan on 39th and Calumet. I go to Masjid al-Faruq at times on 9th and Stony Island, and I also go to Masjid al-Fatih on 47th and Woodline.
In Chicago?
In Chicago.
Okay. But brother, you know what? There's a great misunderstanding about how we feel about Jesus. Esau. How do we feel about him? And you know what? One thing, you know what? Would you say that the conception of Jesus or Esau, that Muslims and Christians have the same conception of the conception of Esau or Jesus?
One of the things that people fail to realize and understand is what is a Muslim. A Muslim is one who submits his will to do the will of Allah. And whenever you submit yourself to carry out the will and the will of Allah, you submit that to do what is right, more than right, correct, according to correct revelations, well then you consider as a Muslim. So anyone that basically submits their will to do what Allah says for them to do, and conduct themselves accordingly, well then they can be considered as a Muslim by basically, doing the declaration of faith.
What is the declaration of faith? I know what it is, but go ahead.
They
don't know, but some of them don't know. But
we're saying that there is none worthy of worship but Allah, and Muhammad was his messenger. Mm-hmm. Peace and blessings not be upon him. And I know that a lot of times people have the wrong conception about Islam or understanding about Islam not even knowing anything about Islam. So you have people that give their opinion or disassociate themselves with being Muslim or Islam or whatever without even knowing anything about Islam. You have people that never read the Quran. You have people that don't even know who Prophet Muhammad was. They get them mixed up with who he was. We're speaking about Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, that came over 1,400 years ago, in which the Quran was revealed to. If they was to look at the contents of the Quran or the message that the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, they have a better understanding. You'd be surprised how many people don't even know who Prophet Muhammad is.
Yes. And this is going to deviate from Esau, Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him. There are many, many, many people, and I would say they're among the ignorant to a certain degree, to say that Muslims mistreat their women and they force them to cover up in a wide hijab, and they're forcing them to do that. And first of all, why would a person say that somebody's forcing a woman to wear hijab, like the picture we're looking at, and to do things that are Islamic? And why would somebody even say something like that out of ignorance? We're forcing them, and we're beating them, and we're making them wear the hijabs, and we're making them wear a niqab. A niqab is something that they cover their faces up with, and you have women walking around like that, actually not with their mask on during this virus. But can you explain?
You answer the question yourself. It's all about ignorance, because they don't know, they don't understand. The Muslim sisters, they do that because they want to. They do it because they require from them to do so by Allah, so they basically submitting their will to do the will of Allah, which makes them Muslim.
Because you know what, for those that don't know, me and Brother Ali and Muslims, we're slaves. And you know what we're slaves to? We're slaves to Allah. You know what? And there's nothing wrong with it. But you say it's a misconception, it's out of ignorance that they would say that a man is forcing a woman, Muslima, to wear hijab and cover up.
Yes, it's out of ignorance, We cannot force anyone to do anything against their will. They got to do it on their own. There's no compulsion in the deen of Islam.
But you know what, Brother Ali, then I'm going to get back to Jesus. Peace and blessing be upon him. When I get through with this, there's some people that say, man, I don't like Muslims because they blowing up things, they causing havoc all around the globe. And I don't think they look at Mecca and they don't look at the whole Muslim community, because they're bad. They're bad people in every denomination. Would you comment on that? I prefer not to.
Well, a lot of the things that may be going on that's happening, they want to contribute to Islam, but Islam speaks totally against the actions of these people. You see, we cannot basically judge Islam based upon someone that is not practicing or following the Quran, following the Sunnah, examples of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and try to judge Islam off of that. So we got to go to the contents. We got to go to the source. A lot of times they speaking about things, but they're not looking at the source. They're not looking and saying, well, what does the Quran say about this, or what does the Quran say about that, and whether or not someone is actually following that. See, if I could say that I believe in this, but if I do something contrary to that, well, then that makes me become hypocritical to that which I say I believe in. So don't judge the hypocrisy on Islam. Judge it on the individual in terms of their weakness, in terms of their lack of understanding in regards to the deen.
Now, you know what? Now, getting back to Jesus, I think it can be proven that Jesus, peace and blessing be upon him, when he prayed like as a Muslim, that he prostrated and put his head down to the ground. That can be proven.
According to the scriptures, he prostrated, he made sajda, he put his head on the ground, whatever, praying to his creator. So if he's praying to his creator. He wasn't praying to himself.
Yes, yes. You know what? And as we look at Jesus, peace and blessing be upon him, did he ever say, pray to me, pray to me?
No.
I am the God. I am, pray to me. Did Jesus ever say that? Why did you say no?
No, I mean, to my knowledge, he never said that because they'll be going against what Allah has instructed him to do, to worship Allah alone and don't associate any partners to him. So he can't compete. He can't compete with the Creator. Mm-hmm. He's a servant of the Creator.
So you saying Jesus never said worship me? He never said to bow down to me. Never said that.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
You know, I was looking at Dr. Z on YouTube, and you know what he said? He's a Muslim brother that does lectures on YouTube. He said, you could show me in the Bible where Jesus said, bow down and worship me. I'll come to Christianity right now. You know what the Christian, he said, show that to me in the book. And for some reason, the Christian didn't have the ability to show Dr. Z that in the book. And that's something that you need to think about. You need to think about that, you know. And ask you something, Brother Ali. If I do something, if I go out there and do some wrong, I do something bad, do you think it would be justified for you to get the punishment?
No, everybody's responsible for their own actions.
Okay.
That's
So
only fair, that's only just. I mean, you never seen someone, going to courtroom and saying that somebody else, paid for their sin or whatever the case may be.
So can you explain that there is something that people in the Judeo-Christian society believe? They believe that Jesus died for their sins. Can you explain that? Can anybody die for your sins? Anybody?
Based upon the concept and teachings and ideology of Islam, no, everyone is responsible for their own sins. Everyone, we are on this earth to be judged by Allah. Allah is going to judge us according to our actions, our good deeds as well as our bad deeds. And so it's just basically a test. And we have a limited free will to do as we will. We can obey or we cannot disobey, but yet still there are going to be consequences behind our actions. So everyone is basically responsible for their own actions. You cannot put your fault onto someone else.
Yeah, there's a belief I would like to ask you that Christians or people in the Judeo-Christian society believe that we were born into sin. Were we born into sin?
No, we were not born in sin. No, when a baby come here.
Why not, and why do they teach that?
I mean, babies come here with a natural order, not knowing anything at all. I mean, that's why you can put babies together, they just play together or whatever. They don't know anything about, you different from me and I'm different from you, or I'm better than you, you better than me, or whatever. They just play because it's natural. It's natural for them. How can you say a baby is born in sin?
Doesn't make any sense.
No. Now, I mean, the act of the man and the woman, basically, they come together, and then they're not married. Okay, well then that's basically in terms of belief and faith that they should be buried in order to basically, intermingle like that.
Now this is a big one, and I would like to know for that and get some clarity from you. Did Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, Esau, did he die on the cross? And if not, can you give some type of explanation from what you know about from the Quran about it?
To the best of my knowledge and understanding, in regards to the incident, even though they say it, there's no proof of it, but we was taught that he did not die on the cross.
What?
Jesus knocked down the cross, the incident that they referred to or they said that happened, that wasn't the prophet Jesus. If it was someone put on the cross, that wasn't the prophet Jesus that was put on the cross. Due to the fact that it was the one that had basically betrayed him or said that he was going to sell him for, I guess they say the pieces of silver, whatever the case may be, that he was the one that was transfigured to the appearance of him.
So if Esau, Jesus did not die on the cross, what happened? What happened to him?
He was taken up through the heavens by the angels. Jesus is the only one that has not been experienced a physical death. We believe that he's coming back because that's basically what is within the deen of Islam. That Isa alayhi salam, he's going to come back, and that he did not die on the cross.
Okay, for people that are just tuning into the Underground Railroad, what we're doing is he's using his. Okay, you was looking at the Underground Railroad, and you know what? The whole thing was to give dawah, to give clarity, to give information about Islam. I mean, there's no compulsion in Islam. Nobody can force you into Islam, but you know what? But you can investigate. Okay, you can investigate but I do believe that you will never see anything where the Messiah, Jesus, peace and blessings be upon him, said, worship me. Never said that. And in the Bible, he bowed down when he prayed. He put his head down and prostrated and put his head down on the ground. That is what he did. Out of his prayer rug. All of the Muslims, all of the prophets, peace and blessings be upon them, are all Muslims. This thing about the Old Testament, the New Testament, the King James Version, the Revised Version, you know what? True words of Allah do not have to be changed. They do not. So the Quran, first of all, it was given to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was given to him by Angel Gabriel. And when it's just say certain things that you just don't believe about Islam, you can take it and you can leave it alone. That's all I can say, because the Quran Arabic is the same. And like I said, you have all these different versions, but you know what? But you have the right to be whatever religion that you want to, because you know what? Want to offend anybody. But I would like for you to come, to investigate. Investigating. And if you love to read about Islam. So I'm going to end this. Believe that I'm going to do a broadcast tomorrow, inshallah, if I live to tomorrow, if it's Allah's will. And we're going to talk about different things, because this particular format, which I'm giving you to, and is going to be just not about Islam, but we're going to talk about other issues dealing with the community, we're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about world issues, global issues. We're going to talk about what's going on in Israel and what's going on in Palestine right now. And the UK, of course, and you got a group they called Islam for the 4K. For the UK, strong group in England, in the UK, and I think they lead. I don't know if they lead him now is Anjem Chowdhury, but I know that he was jailed for talking about things that they said that was destructive to the society. But this is what's going on though. But this dean will continue to spread, no matter how many negative things are said about it. No matter if the you
Welcome to our online service at All Souls. Last week we began a new series in the book of Ephesians.
Okay.
And we heard from Steve that it was.
And no matter how many bad things you say, how you try to destroy, castigate, try to use character assassinations against certain Muslims. They don't represent, certain Muslims do not represent all Muslims. Okay, they don't. So we don't, like I say again, we don't mistreat our women. And the people that do mistreat their women, they are wrong. It goes against the teachings of Islam. The brothers out here that are Muslims that are selling pork and selling alcohol in the community, they know that it goes against the teachings of Islam. These mosques that I put up, they all believe, I would say, the ones that I know believe in the Sharia law. They always confuse me is, when they get in front of the news media and somebody asks them about Sharia law, they always talk around it. But there's something that I just don't understand. But a well-rounded reporter would know how to ask them questions in regards to that. But that tells me, but for the Muslims that say we don't believe in the Sharia, that I don't understand, because they fall away from Islam. But in all due respect, you believe in it, but you do have to abide by the laws in the land of where you live in. You have to abide by it. And I would say one thing about England. They are like certain Sharia courts which administer Sharia law in certain communities, and the people in England, they just totally just leave that alone. And perhaps one day, through peace, that would be done in the United States of America. I don't know, but I do know one thing, that Allah's will be done. So I want to thank everybody for looking at the Underground Railroad. And if you like the show, me thumbs up, my thumbs down. Say, man, I don't like what this guy's talking about. You don't like the light, you don't like the sound. Give me some constructive criticism. You know what? No praise, because all praise belongs to Allah. So you investigate. I hope that you enjoyed this broadcast. And all I can say is assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be to everybody out there. Whether you Muslim, non-Muslim, it doesn't even make a difference. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah. The Torah, the Zabur, the Injil, and the Quran, these are books revealed by Allah through the Prophet on earth, were guided by them.
It means that Almighty God revealed to him something, and this would be false, because Almighty God himself has said in the Quran that this is my final message, and this is the deen, religion of Almighty God.
We thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah,
was a
for the
messenger
books
of
you
God
have sent,
in the line of many messengers God
Allah.
has chosen
The
to guide this
Tawrat
world.
of Musa
God,
to
Allah,
Bani
is our
Israel,
Creator. He
the
created us
Zabur
to
of
serve
Dawood
Him
to
and no other
Bani
purpose.
Israel,
And how
the
to serve
Injil
Him,
of
I call
Isa
the
to
job description.
Bani
Job
Israel, and
description
the
has to be given to
Quran
us by Allah,
revealed
God
to
Himself. And He
Muhammad
gives it to us through His chosen
sallallahu
human beings, they're called
alayhi wa
prophets and messengers.
sallam
In
to
this
the whole
line,
wide
Jesus was the
world.
prophet before Muhammad.
Alhamdulillah,
And he was a human being.
Subhanallah,
A
we
person who
thank
has a
you
date of
Allah,
birth
we
cannot be
praise you
God.
Allah, for the books you
Understand?
sent
He has a date of birth. It's very
Allah.
ironic. The whole Christian
Alhamdulillah,
world celebrates
Subhanallah,
Christmas, which is
we
a false
thank
date of
you
birth
Allah,
anyway.
we praise you Allah,
This is
for
God.
the
This
books
is
you
no
have
way we can
sent
accept that. God, as Quran talks about it,
Allah. The
is one.
Tawrat,
Allah
the
is one.
Zabur,
He
the
has no progeny,
Injil,
and He
and
has
the
no progeny who is
Quran,
not a son or daughter of
these
anybody
are
else.
books
He is eternal,
revealed
one
by
and one only.
Allah
But people
through
talk
the
about one
prophets
in three
on
and three in one.
earth.
I asked
We're
them a question.
guided by
This
them
triune God
how
concept,
to live
you're talking
in
about
peace, how
one-legged
to
tripod.
live in
Does it make sense to you?
Yes,
peace.
sir. Yes, sir.
One-legged tripod,
Alhamdulillah,
you're saying we have a square
Subhanallah,
circle.
we thank you
The
Allah,
sky and
we
moon,
praise you
they're opposite,
Allah,
contradictory
for
terms.
the books you
They
have
cannot be
sent
accommodated in one word. You understand? This is
Allah.
a fictitious concept.
Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah,
Peace and blessings.
for the
Was
books
he
you have
a
sent
Muslim? Was he a
Allah.
Christian? Because they say he was a Christian or a Muslim. What was he?
Alhamdulillah,
What was he?
Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the
My
books
understanding in the
you have
Bible says
sent
that
Allah.
prophets
Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have
I don't know the
sent
references right now, but it's in the Bible. We read it. And
Allah.
also that
The
Jesus
Tawrat,
also, when
the
he was,
Zabur, the
when
Injil,
they came after
and
him,
the Quran,
the Romans came
these
in to get
are
him.
books
He prostrated
revealed
and bowed
by
and to
Allah
pray.
through
He
the
did not kneel
prophets
like they do
on
now in churches or
earth.
in
We're
Christianity, but he
guided
prostrated and
by
bowed,
them
you know,
how
to
to
submit.
live in
Wow, you want to add to
peace,
that?
how to live in peace.
He pretty much said it.
Alhamdulillah,
He got it
Subhanallah, we
actually
thank you
anybody wants to check it
Allah,
out,
we
go to
praise you
What's in the
Allah,
Bible? Right.
for the books you have sent
pretty much said it.
Allah.
He got it
Alhamdulillah,
actually anybody wants to check
Subhanallah,
it out,
we
go to
thank you
What's in
Allah,
the Bible?
we
Right.
praise you Allah,
26,
for the
verse
books
39.
you have
You
sent
see exactly the same thing. He just falls on his face and he
Allah.
prays God.
The
If it
Tawrat
be your
of
will,
Musa
let this
to
cup pass from
Bani
me.
Israel,
But not as my
the
will, but as
Zabur
thy
of
will.
Dawood
And it has
to
to be asked, if
Bani
he's God,
Israel, the
what difference does
Injil
it
of
make anybody else's
Isa
will? He
to
can will anything he
Bani
wants.
Israel,
But he
and
asks
the
God
Quran
to,
revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to the whole wide world. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah. Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, we thank you Allah, we praise you Allah, for the books you have sent Allah. The Tawrat, the Zabur, the Injil, and the